Zoo-wee mama. My name is Docty, and I'm here to cover for Glazer while he is just getting back from his very wonderful vacation. And today, we're mainly going to be talking about Emperor Hulkling, the new card coming to Marvel Snap, and whether he's worth chasing after or not. We also do a quick recap of Speed, your last chance to buy him, just give you a quick deck there and final thoughts. And then we'll also go into Hulkling's Spotlight week. Okay, we've got him alongside Cannonball and Nimrod. So I'm going to talk a bit about those cards, just give my thought, not on Hulkling, but on the Spotlight week as a whole, and whether it's worth chasing after while we are about to come up on the new and very exciting September season. So let's first start with Speed, Last Chance Review. Speed is a 3-cost, 3-powered card with the ongoing ability plus 1 power for each turn in which you spent all of your energy. Now, as a base, Speed is always hitting at least 5 power. Basically, you're not going to miss, all your turns of max energy. And he can go up to 9 in a 6-turn game, which is just a good ceiling, but nothing crazy. Now, in terms of the deck I pulled together, I found this one by a player named Valkyrie. They upload a ton of great decks. This one had really good stats to back it up. We are looking at a Speed Darkhawk list, okay? So I really like this one. We know it's just a nice, good package at the core because we have Korg, Rockslide, Darkhawk. I mean, that just hits. And then we even have Wiccan in here. So this is good. There's no 6-cost cards, but on turn 6, if we did play Wiccan, we'll have 8 energy, so you can slap down a Darkhawk plus a Speed or an Iron Man plus Speed, Cassandra Nova, Rockslide. You just mix and match a 5 and a 3, and this deck can get out some really big power. In terms of possible replacements, Nico Minoru can be replaced by Spider-Man, Ice Ham, just any 1-cost card that's pretty versatile that you like. Something that annoy your opponent can be funny. Jeff or Kate Bishop can be replaced by any 2-cost card that you really like. Okay, Mirage is really good, adds stuff to your hand, gives you more tools to play, which helps you fill out a curve, which helps ensure you can trigger Wiccan and give Speed more power. Then something like White Widow is just a good card. In terms of 3-cost, Cassandra Nova can be replaced by any good 3-cost card. Copycat, Nocturne, Red Guardian, even Black Widow can be good to help power up the Darkhawk. Okay, just a nice tech or power focus 3-cost. In terms of Wiccan, he could be replaced by Absorbing Man, who's a good follow-up to Cassandra Nova. It's a good follow-up to Rockslide. You can also just look for some power like Miss Marvel. Okay, if we do take out Wiccan, we are losing the ability to do a 5 and a 3 on the last turn. So it is a pretty big hit, but you kind of transition more to a standard Darkhawk, just good cards, good power deck. And then Speed and Darkhawk are needed here. Definitely Darkhawk. If you take out Speed, you at least need to change the name from Speedhawk to something else, okay? But if you just want to use Gladiator or something, again, Darkhawk decks are just good. That is the real core of this package. So turn by turn, turn 1, looking to do Korg if possible. That's going to help the chance that your opponent draws the rock or the earlier you play Korg, and also just have that power on the board. Okay, if you don't have that, you can start powering up Kitty Pryde. That's fine. Turn 2, look to slap down the Angela or Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop is really, really good. Get those arrows to your hand. Help ensure you're spending all of your energy on the following turns to help out Wiccan. If not, you can look to Jeff as a backup. Turn 3, you're looking to play Cassandra Nova, ideally right on curve for max power, or Rockslide. But if you don't have that, you can mix and match. But again, you want to be trying to fill out your energy curve every turn. So on turn 4, you can slap down the Wiccan. If you play Wiccan on curve, and you've got at least one of your 5 costs in your hand, whether it's Iron Man or Darkhawk, I would definitely look to snap at that point because you have all this energy and you're about to just slap down some crazy power on the next 2 turns. If you don't have Wiccan, you're mixing and matching with 3 costs and 1 cost. Turn 5, you work with what you have, you try and fill out all your energy. The more turns you spend all of your energy, the bigger Speed will be, and you just have more power on the board, okay? And then turn 6, again, you're looking to drop one of our 5 costs alongside a nice 3 cost. So you can play Darkhawk plus Rockslide. Iron Man plus Speed can just be huge power in multiple lanes on that final turn, help you win some games. So here's just the deck. Once again, final look. I'm liking it. Okay, this is a good Speed list. He's not seeing too much play. Overall, I think he's a decent card. nothing crazy, and somewhat replaceable, you know, even in this list. Again, you'd have to change the name, but he's just a good power card. He's not the core of any deck, you know, he's not really carrying anything. He's just kind of helping out. So if you're a big fan of Glazer's content and you watch it all the time and you're not subscribed already, I mean, what are you doing, okay? The man is putting out the best decks, giving you videos every single day, even when he's on vacation. He's recruiting a bunch of content creators like myself to help him out. Make sure he's giving you all the best content he can give, okay? Helping you be the best player that you can be. So subscribe, give this video a like, drop a comment below. Now, he also does some season pass giveaways, okay? Even more reason to subscribe to Glazer. Every week he's doing some type of giveaway, so definitely follow his channel, watch his vids to learn how to get in on these giveaways. And now we're here to talk about Emperor Hulkling, okay? This is really what the video is all about. We've got the new card coming to Snap, all right, on August 27th, a 6-cost, 11-powered card with the ability at the start of the game, copy the text of a random 6-cost card. So it's not a 6-cost card in your deck or your opponent's deck. It's just completely random out of the pool of all 6 costs, okay? It doesn't include arishem. He's 7. It doesn't include Death. She's an 8 cost. But any 6 cost, he's just going to get the ability. And it's at the start of the game. It's not when you draw him like Copycat. So it's possible he copies an ability, but he's just like at the bottom of your deck and you never actually get to see what it is. And Hulkling does not have a lot of hype around him, and the Spotlight Week as a whole, I will say, does not have a lot of hype around him. Okay, but is that accurate? Is that true? That's what we're going to be talking about here. And going into why it seems like some people think he may not be good or he may be bad, and really what he's going to be on average, right? There's a lot of different abilities of 6 costs, so what can we expect Hulkling to do when we draw him and when we play him? So here's the Spotlight Week. Here are the variants. We've got the Hulkling, that's the Flaviano variant. Nice colors on this one. And then we've got them alongside Cannonball and Nimrod with their Spotlight variants. I'm going to go more into Cannonball and Nimrod later on and give you some deck ideas for those as well if you are picking them up for the very first time. So in terms of synergies for Hulkling, first up, he's inconsistent. Okay, he's doing something different each game. He's pulling a random ability from a 6-cost card. And so you can't expect him to synergize. He's a fairly general fit. So he's very flexible, actually, but he's not going to add a ton of synergy. If you have a deck that needs a 6-cost that's really specific, just really synergistic to what you're doing, Hulkling's probably not going to do that, okay? He'll get that ability like 1 out of 29 times. There are almost 36 cost cards in the game. But he is flexible. You can use him as a general fit. Think of a deck that you'd put maybe like Red Hulk in. You just want something good, just something with big power. And he has always at least 11 power. He can be bigger if he gets Blob's ability or Red Hulk or Null and there's Destroy that happens. But he's good power to start. So we have to wonder though, how do we synergize with him? Because he doesn't really have many direct synergies because he's doing something different. Well, if we do look to ramp him out, then if he does get something lucky, you know, I'd say a leader, a Dr. Doom, or just something big, you know, we ramp him out, it's always going to synergize with Scar because Hulkling always has at least 11 power, okay? Where if you ramp out a Dr. Doom, that doesn't discount Scar at all. If you ramp out Hulkling, he's going to have his 11 power even if he copied Dr. Doom's ability, okay? He would be a much better Dr. Doom in that case. So I think ramp is one option to go. You can look for synergy from Scar there. You can also just look to get an early retreat. I mean, if you get something lucky, you ramp it out, you might just be winning that game. But also, if you just have more 6-cost cards in your deck, then he has a higher chance of a duplicate hit. And this is really big. I think this could be one of Hulkling's, you know, key points is that he can actually give you a duplicate card ability, okay? Again, I mentioned, you know, maybe you get lucky with a null hit and destroy happens. If you're playing a destroy deck, you don't want necessarily just Hulkling to get null. You just want null in that deck, okay? You can't expect Hulkling to replace null. But maybe you have something where you want null and Hulkling, and if you get lucky, Hulkling will copy null, and now you've got 2 nulls in your deck, okay? So you actually have something that other 6 costs couldn't do because it's a duplicate. So if you have decks, and we're going to go over some that have a lot of 6 costs, I think there is good potential there for Hulkling. I think that's something that's being overlooked a bit. I think it's better when he duplicates than when he gets a random card, but we're really going to have to see. So right now we're going to go over an overview of all of these 6 cost targets he has. 4 of those targets are basically really bad. Okay, it's worse than the original, and it's just really bad ability. You do not want Hulkling to hit these 4 cards that we're going to look at. About 19 of the targets are either neutral and or they are just the same as the original. There's no real advantage to running Hulkling over the original 6 costs unless you're running both, in which case, maybe you got lucky and you got a duplicate. But about 6 targets, he's hitting better than the original. Okay, again, I mentioned the Dr. Doom, the leader. He's those cards, but with more power. So to look at what these cards are, again, we're excluding arishem and death. They do not cost 6. In terms of cards you do not want to hit, you do not want to hit Agatha, Giganto, Destroyer, or Infinite. Not only does this make Hulkling incredibly difficult to play, or it just messes you up completely with Agatha, but he's just less power than them. Okay, he is worse than the original. You'd be very sad if he hits these. But there's a couple cards where he's better than the original. A 6'11 Arnim Zola feels nice. 6'11 Blob, 11 power to start. That's going to be a 24 plus power Blob with your Hulkling. You got a Dr. Doom, leader, Odin even, that's plus 3 power, and most decks have a couple on reveals, so you can pretty easily find something to trigger if he does get Odin. But everything else here is usually neutral. Now that doesn't mean you're unhappy with it. If you're playing Hulkling and he hits Mockingbird and you get some discounts, you're probably happy with that. If he hits Red Hulk, you're probably happy with that. But it's just 1 more power than Mockingbird. It's just 1 more power than Red Hulk. It's just 1 less power than Magneto. And your deck probably isn't built to get big advantage from Mockingbird, okay, to discount her a lot. If he gets Galactus, that sounds nice, but you're probably not playing a deck that's great for Galactus, okay, unless you put him in a Galactus deck. I mean, some of these abilities, even Null or Hela, it just may be useless because you're playing a general deck. You're not playing something that synergizes, okay? So most of the time, we can think of Hulkling as a 6'11 or maybe a little bit better, but he's not giving you much more value than just playing the original 6 cost card that you're looking to hit. Okay, and that's really where the problem arises. But we're going to look at some decks here where we kind of skirt around this issue, and maybe we're looking to get some of these duplicate hits. So first, we will start off this deck by Den. It's a Wiccan Loki list, no surprise. It's just, good cards, just a good deck. But we've got Hulkling in here. Alioth can be the main 6 cost card. Hulkling can be a backup. If he gets something horrible, if he gets, Destroyer, you don't have to play him. You still have something else to do on turn 6. If he gets something really good, that could be really good for us, especially if we got Wiccan, we have the extra energy, we can get Hulkling out early. If he gets something like Mockingbird, we're probably getting a discount on that from Loki. Even if he just gets something like Onslaught or Spectrum, which normally doesn't get huge value, we do have speed in here, give a little extra power there, okay? So this deck finds ways to kind of take some of those neutral hits that we talked about and make them a little bit better, just because this deck can do so many things, especially with Loki giving us a bunch of random cards. So I think this deck's just good. Whether it's good because of Hulkling or Hulkling can actually make it better is another question, but it's just a good deck. It's just powerful. If you're looking to play Hulkling, definitely for weekend missions too, this one's probably going to hit. Then we've got this list by Rez Snapper. It's Wings in Big Tings. Very similar here to a Big Dumb Idiots. Slightly different though. We don't have a Zero in here. We don't have a Destroyer in Cosmo. But you notice we have 3 other 6 cost cards. Okay? There's about 30. There's 29. I believe actually 6 cost cards in Marvel Snap right now. We can round up to 30 and say the chance of getting any specific 6 cost card is about 1 in 30. So here it's 3 in 30 to get one we already have. So it's about a 1 in 10. Okay, if you're playing Conquest mode, you might actually see that if you're going through a lot of games. And so with Hulkling, you got that 1 in 10 chance to get one of these 6 costs. So maybe you have a game where you have 2 Mockingbirds, where you have 2 Scars. I mean, that could honestly be huge, 2 Sasquatches. So, this is just a good deck. We'll see how it performs. these decks have kind of been losing out to all of the cheap, powerful cards we have around. There's a lot of Sage in the meta, a lot of Thena, just these small cards that get huge value, so we haven't seen too much big dumb idiots recently. But you look to play your ones here, get your Squirrel Girl down, start ramping up with Hope Summers, and then if you get some 10s down early, obviously Scar comes down really cheap. And again, we're looking for a lucky Hulkling hit, as always, but if you don't get it, that's okay. My only thing here is I'm not a big fan of Martyr. I cannot stand Martyr. I would rather have a Hydra Bob. You could even go with a 0 and Destroyer in here, or 0 with a Tuma, you know, just something there. But I'm excited to try this one out. I think multiple 6-cost cards is the way to go when paired with Hulkling. Then we've got this list by Onk. This is his combo ramp list with Galactus. Okay, now I mentioned using some specific synergy to help get more value from Hulkling potentially. Now in this deck, if Hulkling does get Galactus, we're very happy with that. If he does get Null or Destroyer, we're very happy with that. So here you can look to wave out Galactus. You can also wave into Ultron, kill everything with Killmonger. That makes your death really cheap and makes your Null really strong. And again, maybe you just get lucky with Hulkling. I'm excited to try this one out. Galactus can be pretty inconsistent. He's just not in the best spot right now. But I think Hulkling might actually have really good value here because he's got a decent chance of being a duplicate hit or just something really good. Even if he gets Goliath, that can work really well with Galactus as well. Okay, then we've got another list by Den. This is a Nimrod Destroyer deck, okay? So not the same as the last one. You know, we don't have Galactus here, but we do have all these Destroy cards going on. So again, if Hulkling is getting a Zola Null, even if he gets Galactus here though, that can help us out. Okay, now the only danger I should mention, same thing with the last list, is we have Blink in here. Well, Hulkling is copying his ability at the start of the game. And so even if, you know, he's in your deck and you haven't seen him, if you play Blink and Blink swaps something into your deck, maybe it's Electro, takes out Hulkling, you're getting whatever ability he had, okay? And there's really nothing too bad by that point, but it's possible he gets a Destroyer before you wanted it. It's possible he hits Zola on something. Like, you're going to have to deal with the consequences once Hulkling comes out. Luckily, though, he's going straight to the board. He's not going to your hand. So if you did get Agatha and you pulled him out of your deck with Blink, you never actually have Agatha controlling your plays, okay? And so here again, we're looking to ramp up with Electro. You can do Electro into Blink. We've got some Nimrod, Arnhem Zola shenanigans. Look to get a really strong Null. Then we've got this arishem Loki Hulk list by Den. And this is arishem. Okay, you're not going to see Hulkling here very often. When you do, he's going to be something random. He's going to be alongside your other random arishem cards. So this deck works fine because it's arishem Loki. I'm not sure Hulkling is actually adding stuff here, but it's just an option. This is another probably good weekend mission list. If you do pick up a Hulkling and you're just trying to think of something to play, something that you know works for weekend missions, this could be a good go-to. All right, now I've got a couple lists I've prepared for Hulkling. The first two are fairly serious. The last one's a meme. Okay, I'm just telling you straight up, it's a meme. But first up, we've got a Hulkling Sandman control list. We don't have a ton of 6-costs in here, so we're not likely to get a duplicate. Although if we did get Dr. Doom, we'd be very, very happy. But our go-to is going to be Dr. Doom. And if we get lucky with Hulkling, we can do that instead, okay? So this is a nice control list. We're looking to just play something every turn, get good tempo, and end with Claw or Sandman turn 5 into our nice big turn 6. So it's going to be Nebula into White Widow, into Cassandra Nova or Copycat if she gets something good, maybe Nocturne. Miss Marvel's here for power. And if we have already drawn Hulkling and we get lucky with an Onslaught, for example, maybe even just a Spectrum, that could be good to add power to Miss Marvel and Claw. So maybe we'd go with Claw. If we have something pretty general or it's going to work with whatever, then we can go with Sandman turn 5, also depending on what our opponent's playing. Turn 6, again, we're looking to play Doom, or maybe Hulkling if he gave us something good. In Odin here, we could even play on Copycat if she got something good from our opponent, or you just play on top of Cassandra Nova. So this deck, again, it doesn't need Hulkling, which I think is correct. I think Hulkling, since he's inconsistent, he's often just a 6'11", sometimes a little bit more. He should be an alternative. He should be a bit of a backup plan, okay? He should not be your go-to 6 cost, turn 6 play every time, because you don't know what he's going to do on turn 6. Then I've got this Hela Tribunal list. This is another list where we have a ton of 6 cost cards. Okay, there are 5 other 6 cost cards to get for Hulkling. He could get a duplicate, but we obviously don't want Infinite still. That's not going to help him out at all. If he does get Onslaught, that does help the odds of Onslaught spawning next to Iron Man when Hela brings things back. Okay, this is a pretty traditional, Invisible Woman Hela Tribunal list where we're hiding MODOK, then Hela behind Invisible Woman. Go to turn 7 if we need to help draw our combo. We've got Crystal and Jubilee to help get cards out of our deck. And then just let Hela flip over, and she'll spawn cards as she does, and hopefully you discarded enough big things, and she just takes the win, okay? There's some danger here with Hulkling. If he did copy Destroyer, and Hela brings him back, you just destroyed your entire board, okay? Where in other decks, if he copies Destroyer but he's in your hand, you just don't play him. So there is a bit of risk here, but you win some, you lose some. He is RNG, okay? You're going to have those games, you're going to have those moments. That's what RNG is about. Okay, and then lastly, I mentioned the meme deck. We've got the meme dream here. This is an arishem list, and we also have Agatha. I figure Hulkling can sometimes get Agatha. Why not just put Agatha in to start? Okay, so we're obviously going to have a ton of energy here with arishem, but we've also got Psylocke and Wave to help ramp things out. That will ramp out our Agatha. She will play herself as early as possible. Once you get that 14 power on the board, you can obviously just look to play whatever cards you have available, whatever good random stuff arishem gave you. And maybe you get lucky with Hulkling, maybe you don't, but this deck is just a ton of RNG. It's probably not very competitive, but it's probably a good time. So, final thoughts on Hulkling. You may have heard it in how he's speaking throughout those decks I just covered. And while almost every card that Second Dinner releases is good, it just doesn't seem like there's an obvious reason to run Emperor Hulkling. Why run Hulkling over a 6 cost that is guaranteed to synergize? Okay, again, if your deck is some ongoing list, ongoing Spectrum, for example, yes, Hulkling has 5 more power than Spectrum, but you're not guaranteed to get Spectrum. It's a 1 in 29 chance. So you're just going to run Spectrum, right? You're not going to run Hulkling hoping he hits Spectrum. And that's why I think that maybe that decks with multiple 6 cost cards may be the best, okay? Because you can get a duplicate hit. Or even if you don't get a duplicate, if you don't get lucky and have, 2 Mockingbirds in your hand, basically, which would be really good, by the way, then at least you have a go-to plan on turn 6. You have cards you're planning to play. Hulkling is just there as an option. But again, if something's just there as an option, do you want to put it in your deck, right? Shouldn't you be planning to play all the cards you put in your deck? Can he compete for one of the very precious 12 spots in a competitive deck? It's a very, very hard question for Hulkling. And he does have decent surprise value. If you're in Conquest, your opponent doesn't know what you're playing on turn 6 every turn, which sounds really nice. But arishem does that already, and arishem does it better because he cheats. Arishem cheats energy. Arishem and Loki, they give you some random cards, okay? They have RNG. They're not so good because of their RNG. They're so good because they're cheating, okay? You're playing bigger stuff before your opponent can. And it's often a bit lower quality, but you're just getting stuff out faster. The RNG being there to surprise your opponent is just a nice second benefit, but the main thing is that they're cheating. Hulkling doesn't cheat. He's a 6 cost. He will always cost 6, and he's copying the ability of another 6 cost. Okay, if you copy the ability of Mockingbird or She-Hulk, that's their ability to get discounted, so he will get discounted, but it's nothing that those cards couldn't do already. Okay, he's not cheating in any way. And so he just doesn't seem like he's needed. Again, if you want to surprise your opponents, just play arishem, okay? Now, of course, there's the rule of Thursday, Friday, and Monday. After Hulkling comes out, everyone's going to be sending Glazer their list, their thoughts on Hulkling. He will give you the best decks that are out there for him. He'll give you his thoughts. So stick around for, Thursday, Friday, over the weekend. Check in on Monday and hear what Glazer has to say. Hear what Glazer found, what the community found. Maybe Hulkling's really good and we're wrong. So, give it a couple days and see. So as always, wait and see until at least Friday, unless you just need all the other cards in this Spotlight Week and you really want it already, for Cannonball and or Nimrod. First up, we got the stream team. This is the list of Power On Gaming representing Power On. We've got everybody streaming Monday through Sunday, covering the new cards at this time zone here. You can find them all over on Twitch, and then each release a video of their gameplay the very next day. So we're going to see what kind of success or lack of success people are finding with Hulkling. Now to talk about Cannonball and Nimrod, the other cards in the Spotlight Week. Cannonball, 5 costs, 7 power. On reveal, move the highest power enemy card here away. If you can't move it anywhere, you're going to destroy it and replace it with a rock. So, I've got 2 lists for you. This list recently featured by KM Best. It's by a player named Fox. I think KM Best is the one who named it Thunk in the Trunk. So we've got a nice, cheap, good power package, but with some clog elements, okay? We've got Titanium here to clog, White Widow. Of course, when we play Kate Bishop, we're hoping to get the Acid Arrow. Then we've got Green Goblin and Sage. So we're looking to clog our opponent's board and then just slap down some really big power. Turn 6 Titania plus Cannonball could be huge. Cannonball is so good at winning his own lane. Being able to squeeze in a Hydra Bob or Titania just for 1 cost, 5 power is just good value. Okay, that's a really big turn 6 play, especially after clogging your opponent's board. Of course, that can power up Thena some more. I mean, this deck just hits, okay? It crushes a lot of top meta decks. Then we've got this list by FJ Snap. It is just a full clog list, and that's really where Cannonball is finding his home after Professor X was nerfed and they no longer synergize well together. You clog your opponent's board. If you clog one location, you know where Cannonball is going to move the card, okay, when you move something away. If you clog 2 locations, then Cannonball is guaranteed to destroy a card, which of course is even better. But even if you already want a clog lane, you can just help win the second one with Cannonball. He's so good at winning his lane, especially if your opponent has priority. But if you have priority here, you can go with Alioth on turn 6, okay? So you're clogging as much as you can at turn 6. You have priority, you go Alioth. If your opponent has priority, you can go Cannonball plus the Demon or Titania. All right, then we've got Nimrod. When 5 costs, 6 power card. When this is destroyed, add a copy to each other location. Now, important to note, Nimrod is only Series 4, okay, 3,000 tokens. Pretty much every other new card this season has been Series 5, so Nimrod is the cheapest, lowest value in that sense. In terms of decks for Nimrod, we've got a classic Shuri Nimrod Destroy. You're looking to play Shuri on turn 4, Nimrod on turn 5, and then you can destroy it. You can go Carnage plus Venom. You can get some Arnim Zola shenanigans in there. And then we've also just got Phoenix Force. So we can instead go the Phoenix Force route, look to destroy Human Torch or Multiple Man, revive it with Phoenix Force, make a bunch of copies, just clog the board. Okay, if your opponent can't stop your power, if they don't have Shadow King or anything and they can't stop your destroy, this deck can just beat a lot of things. It just goes over the top of a lot of things, and it gets into hard to reach locations with Nimrod and Phoenix Force and even Arnim Zola. Then we've got a Galactus Nimrod list, so very similar in having the Shuri Nimrod package, but now we even have Galactus. So if we do get a Galactus down and we had Nimrod played in another location already, that Nimrod will come over to the Galactus lane, give us a lot of extra power there. Same thing if we had a Wolverine sitting somewhere else. Or you could just go with classic Clog. Okay, you go with the Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, just play Galactus, and just take a nice cheesy win that way. So should you open this week, okay? We just looked at some deck examples for Cannonball and Nimrod, and there's really not that much out there, okay, for their decks right now. Cannonball still has not resurfaced much since his nerf and the Professor X nerf. So while those decks, are good, it's still fairly niche, right? He's still now focused to this kind of clog package, but he's not really needed in clog. Nimrod, you can play the Shuri Nimrod Destroy list or play Nimrod in Galactus, but you can also just play Destroy without Nimrod. Neither of these cards are just seeing a ton of play, and so while they may be decent to have, especially Cannonball, maybe he comes back to meta, it's a bit of a tough sell, okay? So yes, if you need both Cannonball and Nimrod, then this is probably a great week. You still get 3 new cards potentially because you've got Hulkling, Nimrod, and Cannonball. Otherwise, this might be the weakest Spotlight week we have for months, honestly. If Hulkling doesn't turn out to be good, if he just turns out to be mediocre or decent, okay, not necessarily bad, if he's just decent though, this really doesn't have a lot of value because right now he would be just decent. Cannonball's just decent. Nimrod's just decent, but they're so niche. You're not getting a ton of play value from them. So there's just not much here, okay? And it kind of makes me question things. Oftentimes Second Dinner pairs a really attractive new card with some weaker existing cards, okay? Arishem came out with Hercules and Black Swan. Everyone was getting Arishem already. It didn't matter which cards he was in there with. So oftentimes if you see bad existing cards, you think the new one's going to be really good, but it's hard to see that with Hulkling. So I'm just not seeing the value here. I'm just not seeing why the Spotlight should be chased after. It seems like you could just save your keys for September. Okay, save your Spotlight caches, your Spotlight keys for the new September season. There's some new exciting cards and a lot of good Spotlight cards as well. So this could easily be the weakest Spotlight we have for months unless we're wrong about Hulkling and it turns out to be just super good. And the new Red Hulk where you just put him in every deck and he always produces huge value, okay? But again, we have a reminder about the Thursday, Friday, and Monday videos. Keep up with them. See what we found. See what Glazer says. And if Hulkling's going to be worth it, okay? As always, wait and see until at least Friday, especially for this week. I would definitely be hesitant to open. I would definitely wait as long as you can because if Hulkling is mediocre or even worse, if he does end up being bad, there's just not much here. Now, if you're not already a member of the Patreon, the Snap Judgments Patreon, go sign up for that if you have the funding. I mean, just $1 a month. You can participate in the Snap Judgment League, okay, monthly league, fun tournament. You get some early access to some of Glazer's videos and content as well. It's just a good time. You're going to see me on the list at the end of the video. We love ourselves this Patreon. All right, so to give thanks to our $10 Patreons of the Snap Judgments, I cannot say these names nearly as fast or nearly as well as Glazer can. So if I butcher your name, please leave an angry comment in this video. This isn't my channel, so I do not mind. Big thank you to Abigail Gislin, Mandatory Burnout, Cables, Matt H, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Direwolf, Ellaby, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer, Deucefall, Inc., I Am Frostman, Jay Neverett, Quarwim, Primed Ryan, Kirtex Lee, Corey Ray, Pyrophoros, The Goat Seeker, Denman Falcon, Quid Pro Joe, your boy Docty, We Got a Fat Nick, Ginger Prime, Philip Rakovich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of The Danger Zone, Rob Silverman, The BZA, X-Force V, Skippy G, Tommy Nyquist, King of Rose, Black Dahlia, The Great Kazoo, Jessica Gamble, Ryan Wood, Kev Ciota, Lunacris, Quantum Quinn, John Q, Clam, 8th Sage, Models, Darth Tater, Remy Satala, Brian Kaufman, Tristan H. Martin, Jason B, J.D. McDonaldino, Fuzzy Dumlock, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, Mikey Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Craig Sterry, Seamus, Spike Jones, Two Ties, Lauren Whatevs, Tuccrr, Min Nguyen, and Gunny T, where the T stands for. It was completely awesome to meet Gunny in person, running the tournaments at SnapCon. What a great guy. What a great time. So, closing time. Final thoughts. I'm pretty sure this is where Glazer says something really inspiring, not something Snap related or telling you that Hulkling is bad and you shouldn't open him. But when he talks about just, some good message, my message would be just be consistent in whatever you're doing. It replies to Glazer being so consistent with his videos, even when he's on vacation, having other content creators like myself covering this. He's so consistent in what he does, and you be consistent, you be patient, you will reach your goals, okay? Not just applies to content creation, it applies to, personal finance, saving money, investing money, whatever your hobbies are, maybe even just for sports, be consistent, keep practicing, show up to practice, don't be like Allen Iverson. Just be consistent in whatever you're doing, and be patient, and you will reach your goals. You will be a better person because of it. A reminder to subscribe to this YouTube channel, be a member of the Snap Judgments community. It's also a great Discord if you decide to join the Discord for Marvel Snap Zone. Sign up for the Patreon if you want to participate in the monthly league. And then lastly, if you haven't been to my channel here on YouTube before, come say hi. It's at Docty_Snap. I cover all kinds of new card content, and I also get Glazer on my channel once a month. We do a Series 4 and Series 5 buy guide tier list that is just so helpful for players looking to spend their resources as wisely as possible on the cards that can give them the most value in the current meta. So thank you all. I appreciate anyone who's still sticking around watching this video. Worry not, Glazer will be back on his own YouTube channel very, very soon. So until then, stay positive. We'll see you next time.